there. And again, it ended when that suspect ran inside the store.
Yeah,
and
police aren't giving us much information at this point, but you can see there is something major going on. There are reports on social media of a hostage situation, of a shootout. We cannot confirm that at this point. Police, of course, are quite busy dealing with this situation, but witnesses on the scene say they have seen people running, evacuating out of Trader Joe's. You can see just how many dozens of officers. It looks like there are several SWAT units on scene here. We cannot confirm the reports that are buzzing around social media right now of any hostages that may or may not be inside this. We do know that a pursuit ended at this Trader Joe's, and there may have been a passenger in the vehicle with the driver. The driver got out. We have seen a photo on social media of a back window of that car being blown out. And then we're working right now on details of what's going on inside the Trader Joe's right now. Our reporter just arrived on scene, or is pulling up as of right now. This is a live look of one of our ABC7 cameras of just a massive police response.
Okay, what we can tell you is that, as Jory mentioned, witnesses have been reporting that people were evacuating the store. They were running out of the store down the sidewalk. At least one person was reportedly hurt, injured with an apparent gunshot wound. Again, these are all not confirmed from authorities, but what witnesses are telling us. And the LAPD has sent out a tweet confirming that there is an active police incident. Obviously, we're looking at it there at this location, at this Trader Joe's. The LAPD is asking the public to stay clear of the area. And hopefully we will get more information as LAPD is sending a public information officer to the scene, and hopefully we will have more details about what led to this, to the pursuit initially, and what is happening there at the Trader Joe's. But again, people evacuated the store, people seen running out of the store. We have seen some injuries, at least one. And you see, again, these are live pictures from our camera on the ground. We just arrived just moments ago, and you see the number of police cars there, and the numbers of SWAT teams and regular patrol officers on the scene. So this is a serious situation, and we're trying to gather as much information as we can.
So if you're not familiar with this area, this is kind of the convergence of Silver Lake and Los Feliz and almost Atwater Village. It's Hyperion Avenue, which, if you travel a little further north, merges with Glendale Boulevard into Atwater Village, a popular shop. This is a popular shopping area. There are several grocery stores. There's a Gelson's across the street, the Trader Joe's. There's a little strip mall with a popular ice cream shop just really feet from where Trader Joe's is. And on a Saturday afternoon in the middle of summer, this was likely a very busy situation, location. And you can see the ladder that police have put up. We assume that police have put that ladder there. And now as we see one officer going up, it looks like with some gear on his back. I would assume there's going to be a rifle among that pack of gear, sniper's rifle, as they set up position in this area. But again, dozens of officers, and not a lot of it looks pretty calm right now. Not a lot of tension in the body language of these officers as they stand around. Of course, what we're looking at here, the officers climbing that ladder, is about a half a block away from the Trader Joe's, but they're setting up a location on the roof across from the entrance of the Trader Joe's. They'll set up a location and likely set up rifles to keep an eye with long distance scopes to be able to see if they can look inside the store to see what's going on in there. But again, police still pretty tight-lipped. We're making calls, and we're just getting the same response that this is where a suspect ended their pursuit. But we do know they're calling it an active police incident at this point. That was just tweeted out a few minutes ago by the LAPD on their Twitter account, an active police incident. We are, again, working to find out whether there are hostages being held inside of this Trader Joe's, what the situation is. We have seen people running out of the store, and we're almost as much in the dark from as far as police information is concerned as you are, and we're working the phones and talking to trying to get a public information officer to respond and get us more information. Of course, they're quite busy trying to figure out information themselves.
Of course, the worst case scenario is if, in fact, there is a hostage situation or people have been hurt. But again, no confirmation of that. But just from what I'm seeing with the officers standing back there, it seems that, we could only assume or speculate that perhaps someone is trying to communicate with the suspect inside. We have no information about whether that suspect is a male or a female, but we can assume that they're trying to communicate with that person and perhaps negotiate if there is in fact
Right.
a hostage situation. We don't know. It's too early to say at this point. But you see that the officers there and some SWAT officers are standing by, mobilizing, and we're just hoping to get some better understanding of the situation here. We do know that this started with a police pursuit out of Hollywood, and it ended here in Silver Lake. We don't have any word on the vehicle that was involved. And so, again, we are just watching and waiting alongside with you all, trying to, hoping to get some more information from authorities.
Yeah, and so here's some of the perils on our end of things. There are multiple reports on Twitter of people reporting shots fired, hearing a shootout or shots fired or seeing hostage situations. We see those too. We can't report that as accurate until we confirm it either on the scene from witnesses or whether we talk to police. So we see them just like you do. I know there's a lot of folks out there calling for us to report on this. We don't know. We can't say whether there was a shootout, whether there were shots fired, and whether or not there are indeed hostages. Where our camera is set up, where you're watching these images from, is as close as the news media is allowed to get. They set up a big perimeter, especially if there is a possible active shooter, as this is. We can call it a possible active shooter, we don't know, but they keep media and bystanders as far back as they can. I'm sure they'd like to get cameras a little further than they are right now, but thankfully for us, we have a pretty decent view into what's going on here. I'm curious, we do have a helicopter on the way. Once Air 7 HD arrives, we should be able to see that car, the suspect's vehicle, and it might be the car that's in the roadway down the street a little bit to the right. I'm not sure if I think Sean is on the camera here. There was a car parked in the road, and it's inside the barricade, so I'm not sure if that was just a car that was passing by at the time police showed up, or whether that might be the car involved in the pursuit. We saw reports on social media of the back window of the suspect's vehicle being blown out. You can't exactly see from this angle whether that is the case with this car. It's just difficult to see. And for all we know, that could just be a car that happened to be parked there or driving by and stopped inside the police zone, the yellow tape. So we're working. Once we get our eye in the sky on scene, we should get a better view of the layout here and exactly what we're looking at.
And if you're just joining us again, we'll fill you in that this is what started as a pursuit in the Hollywood area, and it ended here at the Trader Joe's on Hyperion, 2700 block of Hyperion Avenue, near Griffith Park Boulevard. In Silver Lake, and you see the police presence there, significant police presence. We have heard, Jory has been mentioning reports on social media and witnesses letting us know as well that they have seen employees and perhaps customers running out of Trader Joe's. At least one witness reporting at least one injury of what appeared to be a gunshot wound. Again, what appeared to be. We cannot confirm that any gunshots were fired, but there have been several social media reports that there were shots fired. But again, you're looking at a live picture from our camera on the scene there. This is Hyperion, and you see the officers standing by. We are assuming that the suspect is still inside that Trader Joe's and that perhaps authorities are trying to make contact with that suspect.
Okay, just moments ago, we did get an update from the Los Angeles Fire Department. There was one 20-year-old female transported to the hospital in fair condition. So we do have one person taken to the hospital. We don't know what their condition was, what necessitated that trip to the hospital. Obviously, the first thought would be that it might be a gunshot wound, but again, we don't know. That's all we have from the LA Fire Department. One 20-year-old female transported to the hospital in fair condition. LAPD headquarters, we're still waiting on more information from them. Their last tweet was 21 minutes ago. And again, that was only to say there's an active police incident at the Trader Joe's at Hyperion. Please stay clear of the area. That's actually also important as you're watching this. If you're out and about today. One, just for your own sanity with dealing with traffic on a Saturday, you're going to want to stay away from this area because Hyperion is already a busy thoroughfare to get around. On weekends, it's particularly heavily trafficked, and now that this is shut down, it's going to start sending trouble around to all the surrounding roads into Echo Park and Los Feliz, the surrounding areas of Silver Lake, across the 5 into Atwater Village. So that's going to be a problem. Again, LAPD telling us a public information officer is responding to the scene. More information will be released as it becomes available.
And we're looking at, it's not just the Trader Joe's that is likely involved here. We see all these smaller businesses here, and it is likely that the folks in these buildings and storefronts have been asked to leave as well. So we don't have any solid information on how many evacuations, if all of these stores were evacuated, but we do know from witnesses that people were seen running out of the Trader Joe's, and these businesses here that we're looking at, Sage Cheese Cafe and the gelato store, are close enough to that Trader Joe's that I would assume authorities would want to have people go to a safer that
again, the dangers of going off of Twitter. Devin Field, who a writer for Jimmy Kimmel Live, if that is accurate, says that people are on scene with families still inside. So our reporter is going to start working the scene and see if they can talk to some of the witnesses who are on scene, just to kind of verify again that the danger of social media in this day and age. It's tough to trust what you read out there. We're reading what you're reading on social media, but we have to verify it with police and with witnesses who are on the scene. But again, I'm struck by the demeanor of the officers. You see so many officers, and they're gathered in groups. You can see along the far wall of Trader Joe's, they're standing around. Just by a rough count, you see 40 or 50 officers through a 2.5 block stretch. And it seems relatively calm. They're devising a game plan right now, likely gathering information, trying to figure out what the situation is inside of Trader Joe's. We are also working on getting a law enforcement expert to join us here on air to kind of break down exactly what these officers are doing, what they would be looking for at this point, and to see how they can perhaps get into contact. I think at this point we can accurately say that this is a barricaded situation. If police are on the outside with no movement, all focused on the Trader Joe's, that would be, that's basically the definition of what a barricade is. So we believe that the driver of a suspect pursuit, and here we have video of a woman being escorted, visibly upset, 2 people, officers running them out of the scene. Yeah, and we're not sure if they were inside the store or whether they were just kind of stuck inside the police tape. But this is one of those situations that is it's extremely scary to be caught inside of or around. If the reports of gunshots in the area prove to be accurate, that is a very jarring experience to go through. Just hearing on what was a calm Saturday afternoon, broken apart by gunshots, that can be quite disorienting and anxiety-inducing. So, man, you see people kind of running out with anxiety on their face. It is a tough scene to watch. That car, that BMW that's parked in the background, doesn't seem to be getting much attention from officers, which would lead me to believe it's not involved. But again, we don't know. You can see on the far side of your screen, that's where the police tape is on the back side. So folks over there might have a better view, but we're still working to get Air 7 HD. I'm not sure if the airspace around this has been shut down, perhaps. We're not able to get a signal in this area with a possible active shooter in a barricade situation going on.
Again, the few details that we can confirm that are accurate, obviously, is that there is a tactical, LAPD is on tactical alert. You're looking at the situation there at this Trader Joe's on Hyperion. Several officers, dozens and dozens of officers have responded to the scene, as well as SWAT. Again, we've heard from witnesses that people ran out of the Trader Joe's. They were running down the street. You saw moments ago officers escorting a couple of people there. But what is happening inside the Trader Joe's, we do not know. We do not know if there's a hostage situation. fire, the LA Fire Department has confirmed that a 20-year-old female was transported to a hospital in fair condition. So that we know is that has been confirmed. But again, what the situation or what is unfolding right now at the Trader Joe's, we do not know. We know it is some sort of standoff. We don't know if the suspect is armed inside the Trader Joe's. We don't know what started the pursuit. We do know it started in Hollywood and it ended here at the Trader Joe's on Hyperion, the 2700 block of Hyperion Avenue. It was, I guess, prompted by a stolen car report. So the vehicle that the suspect was driving is believed to be a stolen car, and that's what prompted the pursuit. And that is what has led us to this Trader Joe's, waiting to get more information from authorities who are not giving us too much at this point, but it might be because they don't have too much to give. Right.
We lost our shot. Looks like police might be asking our camera to move, so we're just giving you a map of where this is happening. Again, Devon Field, this is unsubstantiated, but reports on Twitter says it's a writer for Jimmy Kimmel Live, says, I was walking in to the Trader Joe's when a car crashed, running from the police into a street lamp in front of the entrance. Gunmen got out and started shooting at the cops. I hid behind a retaining wall with 3 cops until they had me crawl out. We're working to substantiate all of this information, but another tweet from Devon Field. Employees are saying the gunman shot a TJ's employee in the arm. Another employee dragged her out and the police got her into the ambulance. We have heard an eyewitness report of a woman being pulled out, and that would, if that's the case, we do know one woman, a 20-year-old woman, has been transported to the hospital, so that would potentially coincide with what we have heard. Again, more tweets here from Devon Field. We're not sure if this is accurate. Some people, again, say people here with family still inside of the store, and so there's more here. It's too much to go unsubstantiated right now, but it sounds like a dangerous situation, and we're waiting for confirmation from police, and waiting for more information from police, and our reporter on scene is working the scene right now, trying to talk to any witnesses. But again, it is a chaotic scene, and in the early going, the early parts of a situation like this, a barricade situation, where you might be dealing with hostages who are stuck inside, police are pretty tight-lipped about what's going on. They don't want to give away their tactical position, what they plan to do, because in this day and age as well, someone could be watching on their phone and watching this broadcast and seeing what police are doing.
It is a very fluid situation for officers. Of course, they don't want to put their officers, for authorities, they don't want to put the officers in danger, and nor the public. And I would suspect that is why they've asked our camera to move, assuming that that's what happened, because they were showing, the camera was showing the position of some of the officers on the roof in the building near the Trader Joe's, and perhaps they don't want that suspect to maybe have access to a television inside the Trader Joe's or in a back room, who knows?
Yeah, I know it's rough.
We could on TV, even on the phone.
We can pop this up. I know it's a little shaky right now as our cameraman sets up, but we're watching him. We're watching the feed right now of them set their camera back up. It's a little shaky right now, but it looks like they're being directed by officers to head a little further away from the scene. They're walking down the police line. There you go. So even where the media is being set up is a chaotic situation. We've seen a couple officers.
This is very typical to breaking news situations. This is not unusual at all. Again, we don't know what's happening inside the Trader Joe's. We understand it might be a hostage situation. It might just be a standoff with the suspect inside. We don't know if there are customers and or workers inside. Again, we have been hearing that at least one person was seen injured, and we know from the LA Fire Department that one person was transported to the hospital in fair condition. So that is what we know, but the other details that we're hearing from social media we cannot confirm, and we're waiting to hear from authorities who tell us that they are on their way. Authorities who can give the media more information are on their way. But in the meantime, if you're watching this or perhaps listening to it on your phone and you're in the area, authorities are asking you to stay away from this area. Police have surrounded this building, the Trader Joe's on the 2700 block of Hyperion that is near, I believe, Griffith Park Boulevard. So avoid this area yeah, sorry, we're looking at the pictures
I believe
here.
this is a second. I believe we now have a second camera on scene here. There's the first. I think we're okay. We just lost both signals.
Okay.
So we will wait to get that back. Do we have word on Air 7? Do we know if was there a problem with the airspace there? Okay, so we're still awaiting to see if when Air 7 HD is able to arrive, and if they're not being permitted to fly into this airspace. If it indeed is an active shooter, perhaps they have shut this down. I don't think it would be, there's no airports around, either smaller airports that would lock down the airspace. Dodger Stadium is not close enough for that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so we're doing the best we can to get
Right.
more information. But in the meantime, if you're watching, please be patient that we don't have all of the details just yet on what's happening here. But this is a developing news story, very typical for breaking news, for the details to come in very slowly. And to be conflicting, frankly. Sometimes we get information that turns out to not be accurate because authorities are doing the best they can to gather the most accurate and factual information when they are also on the scene, and they don't want to release any information, if they can prevent it's sharing information that is not accurate, so they're trying to be careful as well. And their primary concern is not releasing information at this point, to be honest. It is dealing with the situation at hand, which is keeping people safe and dealing with the suspect and trying to get control of the situation and disarm the suspect if in fact he is armed. We don't know that at this point.
Okay. Here's another look at the man and the woman who were escorted by police out of the police scene. Just trying to read, body language and facial expressions is tough. Neither one seemed to be too panicked, if that means anything. At this point, it likely doesn't. Again, looking at, we're just scouring social media as there are several reports, and that seems to be the only information that's coming out right now, none of it official. Again, I go back to Devin Field, who on Twitter says is a writer for Jimmy Kimmel and a comedian with the Upright Citizens Brigade, who happened to be at the Trader Joe's when this happened, taking to Twitter, saying that the gunman wanted to, he was ordering everybody around. Employees locked themselves in a bathroom. One of them, a former Marine, was helping to sneak people out. Again, we're working to corroborate this and to verify. But then again, this is just a social media report. It would be the equivalent of talking to someone on scene. It's not verified by police, who again were awaiting a public information officer to either arrive on scene or themselves learn enough information to then go to us and give us some information. According to this witness on Twitter, the gunman returned fire to police and dropped to the ground. Eventually tried crawling out, but couldn't get out. So they had to crawl out and run, is what this says. So it's just, it's tough. It's tough to get accurate information and verify information, but we're still, again, waiting on police to verify exactly what is going on.
In the meantime, though, you are looking at the live pictures there. You're seeing what we are seeing. This is from our camera on the ground on Hyperion. Again, LAPD telling people to stay away from this area. And I would imagine several businesses are being affected. I mean, they must be. The 7-Eleven is right there, and several other businesses. We know that there's a cleaners nearby and some cafes, and so we would just assume that they have told people to either stay inside and away from the windows, because if there is a gun situation here with an armed suspect situation here, and there is a shootout of some sort, of course we hope that's not the case. People can be hurt. So I think they're trying to minimize the possibility of that and have likely reached out to those nearby businesses and told them to either evacuate or have the folks go to the back rooms. We don't know what the situation inside the Trader Joe's is at this point, but on a Saturday afternoon, likely it was packed with shoppers and obviously employees as well. So we did not see how many people were evacuated, though we did get reports of people leaving the Trader Joe's. But whether or not everyone that was inside the store was able to get out, we don't know. And so,
yeah,
you know, the worst case scenario is that there is a large group of people in that store with a suspect who is not stable.
So it looks like our original camera position was much closer to the scene. This is further north. So this is further up Hyperion Avenue towards Atwater Village, towards the 5, where Rowena crosses over the 5 and merges with Glendale Boulevard. We do have a reporter on scene. Amy Powell is there live. Let's go to her with the very latest. Amy, can you hear us, and what can you tell us?
Wait, hang on. Hey, go ahead.
Okay, Jory, yes, we just got on scene here a few moments ago, so we apologize if the camera is a little unstable right now, but let me set the scene for where we are. We are